have found the most challenging aspect of a merger and acquisition transaction for a business owner is making that first decision to sell the business. Business owners are often known by their company. They often have started it or certainly run it, and the connection to it is significant, almost like a family member. That type of connection makes it very difficult, if it's multi-generational, whatever the circumstances may be, it makes it very difficult to make that decision to pursue the sale of a business. And honestly, as my career has evolved over time, my time and attention is really spent on developing relationships with those companies, helping them through that process, giving them comfort with regard to how the process will play out, what the valuation should look like, the types of alternatives they have, educating them so that when they make the decision, they're fully informed, have all the information they need to make the best decision for them, and then execute it when it's at the right time. If it's not now, it might be a year, 3, 5, 10 years from now, but it's easier to make that decision when you're fully informed as to what your options are and have someone you trust giving you that advice. We find when working with clients that they struggle often with when to go to market. And part of it is, well, I'm growing, my business is growing, it's always going to be worth more next year or next quarter. I'm going to land a new customer next quarter, maybe I should wait. And there's often some truth to that, right? Of course, as companies grow, they become worth more money, ideally. But there's also risk to that. And maybe the growth doesn't come as planned. Maybe there's a competitive threat that wasn't known. Maybe there's an external factor that changes their business or the M&A market in a way that negatively impacts value. So we often sit down with our clients, talk about, again, their options, what their options are, and talk about the timing and determine when would be the ideal time for the company, and if that lines up well also with a robust M&A market, all the better. But it is very important to work with that client and get them comfortable with the sale process, get them prepared for it, and then execute it on the right timeline. And if that means waiting a quarter or two, understandable, but if that client is saying, look, every quarter, I think I need to wait, there might be something in their psyche that's just holding them back, and you got to be there to help them understand what is holding them back. And again, if it's good reason, great, but if not, encourage them to pursue that opportunity. Take advantage of a really strong M&A market, take advantage of well-performing company, and capture that value. And so we try to, it's a fine line, but we try to help our clients understand those dynamics and make the best decision for them. It's very important in an M&A process to have a discussion right up front about the critical components of the transaction to that client. It could be around valuation, it could be around brand, it could be around retaining certain people, certain facilities. It could be a variety of things that are just uniquely important to that client and that are deal breakers. In this environment, we can extract those, we can make those things happen. Buyers are aggressive and they want to cater to that seller's needs. So having that conversation up front is very important. Understanding really what's critical to our client and making sure that the buyer understands that and is willing to agree to those terms and conditions up front while we still have a competitive process is an important component. Also understanding with our client, where there's a gray area, where there's some flexibility, where we can negotiate around the edges and maybe give here or there in order to accomplish something more important to the client as well is important. And it's all part of that M&A process, the preparation phase, as well as just the negotiation phase with the buyer, and knowing where you can draw a hard line and where you have flexibility. That communication, really critical to have that relationship with your client and that open communication in order to get the best outcome.